Welcome to my channel where we discuss everything and all things politics, economy, and development in Nigeria and around the world. In this video, I want to talk about that why nobody should be begged to be Igbo. It's a topic that has been of interest to me to address the issues of Igbo deniers. So I decided that it is important to clarify and put it in clear terms why nobody should beg anybody to be Igbo. If you say that you are not Igbo, you are not Igbo. If you say you are Igbo, you are Igbo. Now, in this video, I want to show why nobody should be begged to say that he's Igbo. And this is not condemning those who have embarked on a project of what they call Igbo Unification Project. I wish them good luck in their endeavor. But this video is particularly to show why nobody should be begged to be Igbo. Because there is a lot going on for the Igbo, that it is a privilege to be Igbo. I can tell you that for free. And that I found out through studies and research and from opinion of even non-Igbos who have from outside looked into the Igbo ancestry and the Igbo history, the Igbo archaeology, the Igbo legacy over thousands of years. That is what we're going to talk about in this video. And if you are new to my channel, you have not yet subscribed to my channel, please subscribe to my channel. Hit the subscription button, hit the notification bell. When you subscribe to my channel and hit the notification bell, anytime I have a new video, you'll be among the first to know. God bless you. Now, Igbo means excellence. Igbo are the only ethnic group in Nigeria. Of course, some people may it derogatorily that you can see a brand new product called Igbo made. There is no other people in Nigeria that are accredited or is accredited with creativity like the Igbo. No matter what connotation you look at it. If you buy, there are people that when they see a computer today, they will say, are you sure this computer is not Igbo made? It's an acknowledgement of the Igbo consciousness in all Nigerians that there is something they are producing. So that should also interest anybody in analyzing the Igbo story in Nigeria. But that's by the way. Now, I did say that Igbo means excellence in the same way that I consider being Jewish epitome of excellency in several areas of human endeavor. The reason is obvious. The Jews have impacted this world spiritually, socially, politically, psychologically, in science, technology, innovation, in every area of life. The Jews have touched our lives, whether we like it or not, whether we want to admit it or not. Every area of our lives, improvement for thousands of years, the Jews have played a role in it, whether we like it or not. And they are still playing a role today in our lives, in our science, in our technology, in our medicines, and what have you. Now, that's how I look at the Igbos. And why you now see why I say that Igbo means excellency. So it is a privilege to be considered Igbo, to be born Igbo. That's what I'm going. But we'll see where I'm going to. Let's go. Now, if you are looking for equivalence of excellence outside the Jewish nation or the Jewish world, look no further than the Igbos. To be born or considered Igbo should be a privilege. To be considered Igbo should be a privilege. And if anyone is taught to be Igbo and he said that he is not, for God's sake, let him be. Let it be. I'll give you a personal example. When I was writing my book, The Igbo Phenomenon, it was a book that was after my heart. When I was writing that book, which is available on Amazon and available anywhere in the world, one of the things that I battled with was when I was writing about people of Igbo ancestry that had captained the Super Eagles of Nigeria. I remember Sondolise, but I did not include Sondolise as an Igbo in that book. So when you read that book, and when I was talking about the impact of Igbo leadership in the Eagles team, I did not include him. Why? Because I saw where Olise with his own mouth say he is not Igbo. Are you getting it? So I didn't want to get involved with him by putting him in my book when he said he is not. That had been my approach to issues of ethnicity and identity. So if you buy that book and you read it and you get to the section I was talking about the impact of the Igbos in sports in Nigeria, you will see that Olise from Delta State is conspicuously missing. I talk about J.J. Okocha, I talk about Stephen Okechukwu, but I didn't, all these I mentioned are from Delta State, but I didn't include Sondolise in that mix because I don't suffer fools gladly. Okay, now that's by the way. If you look at, there's an American intellectual, his name is Thomas Sowell. He has studied the Igbos, the Chinese, and the Jews. He did a documentary which he titled The Hatred Behind Jews, Igbos, and Chinese Explained, which I will encourage you to go and watch. Now, Igbos belong to an illustrious group where you are comparing the Igbos to the Jews and to the Chinese. Now, if you belong to one tiny dialect of Igbo and you say you are not Igbo, and your Igbos are included in a unique group, forget about that. It was about hatred. If you watch the thing, you talk about the impact of Igbo, the Jews, and Chinese in business worldwide. Okay, and somebody who say he's from one tiny community that is not up to 10,000 or 100,000 people and they say you are Igbo, you say no, I'm not Igbo, as if there's anything of significance that your tiny community has contributed to mankind better than what the Igbo has put out there, which we will get into very fast. And I try to be fast because I don't want this video to be lengthy. In Nigeria today, the Igbos have had a lot of facts that should show that you don't need to run around some groups of people begging them to say that they are Igbo or to agree that they are Igbo, because Igbos are achievers. Igbos have people that you could inspire your children to look up to. Okay, because this part of doing this video is for you to use this video to let your children know the illustrious ancestry they belong to. Great achievers. Right now and in the past and in the future. Okay. Now, Igbo's history in Nigeria have been marked by a lot of firsts. The Igbos are the first, Igbo produced the first professor in Nigeria. The first professor in Nigeria is Professor Kenneth Dike, who was also the first vice chancellor of University of Ibadan. When University of Ibadan became a full-fledged university, Professor Kenneth Dike, who was the first Nigerian to be a professor, was the first vice chancellor, first Nigerian vice chancellor of University of Ibadan. And if you see the gap between education, Western education as we know it, between the Igbo and the Yoruba, how the Igbos pursue education and overtook the Yoruba, which is contained in this my book, The Igbo Phenomenon. It was unparalleled in human history. The short period that Igbo was able to shut ahead and overtook the Yoruba, who had access to Western education because of their geography before the Igbos. Professor Dike became the first professor in Nigeria and the first Nigerian vice chancellor of University of Ibadan. The same thing also happened to Professor Eninjoku. Professor Eninjoku is an Igbo and he was the first vice chancellor of the University of Lagos. You can go and verify. Okay? And the first Nigerian to be awarded a PhD by University of Ibadan. The first Nigerian to get a PhD in Nigeria. The first Nigerian to get a PhD in Nigeria is Professor Adiela Igbo. Okay? Take note of that. In business, the first president of the Nigerian Stock Exchange was Sir Louis Odumegojuku, who was also the first Nigerian billionaire in pound sterling. His role in helping the British Empire during the Second World War impressed Queen Elizabeth, who made him a knight. That was how he became Sir Louis Ojuku. Okay, take note of that. In literature, no African is bigger than Chinua Achebe, the father of African literature, and the author of the hugely translated book, Things Fall Apart. And in many lists around the world, on the list of books that you must read before you die, Things Fall Apart has remained a constant feature in list of books that you must read before you die. And these lists are not compiled by Nigerian people. They are compiled by some international organizations who know what is on board. Now, Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie has followed in that illustrious footstep. In poetry, there is no African bigger or better than late Christopher Okigbo. No African is bigger or better than Christopher Okigbo. He died in the Civil War. That's why many of you may not have heard of him. But if you follow poetry, you will know that none is better or bigger than him. In the military, the first general of the Nigerian army elevated to that position, we are not talking about quarter generals, full-fledged general, which is full chest, is General Aguiyi Ironsi, who was made a general by the British Empire when they were superintendent over Nigeria. Now, of the founding fathers of Nigeria, no one made impact like Dr. Nnamdi Azikiwe, both nationally and internationally. That was why he was the only one that the colonial masters were pursuing everywhere. He had to live in Ghana for some time, ran away from Nigeria. He epitomizes excellence. He was the only one between himself, Chief Awolowo and Samad Bello, who had a PhD from Columbia University. Take note of that. From Howard University. It's Howard University. From Howard University. So take note of that. Okay? And it reflected in his perception of Nigeria. That was why he wasn't into parochialism that characterized the other nationalists who were thinking about their region and other. He was much more nationalistic. And also, besides, he was the son of a railway worker. His father was a railway engineer. That was why he was born in Zungel. You ask yourself, why was Zeke, of all the three of them, he was the only one that was not born in Igbo land? Because his father was a railway worker. He was born in Zungel in present-day Niger State. But he was the one that was much more ambitious. The story had been told how he was able to maneuver his way to go to the United States to go and study. And he came back a PhD. Till today, Igbos are leaders in business, innovation, technology, and what have you. The father of the internet that we are enjoying today is Dr. Philip Emeagwali. And he was inspired by ancient Igbo scientists to make the discovery he made. In ancient Igbo artifacts, there is a hyperbole. I will put the screen of the hyperbole that was created by the ancient Igbos in 9th century that inspired the internet that we all are enjoying today. Now, the hyperbole was created by the ancient Igbo scientists, which displayed an intricate geometric pattern of lines, circles, and curves, consisting of interconnected hexagonal shapes. It contains every math formula, every law of physics, every harmony, and every biological life form. This is what this hyperbole contained. And the ancient Igbos were responsible for its creation. Now, Igbo-born physicist and super scientist Philip Emeagwali, who is also known as the father of the internet, invented his model of hyperbole to create the internet grid by the hyperbole that was developed by the ancient scientists, by ancient Igbo scientists. You can see the illustrious lineage of Igbos. Given that kind of, coming from this perspective, why should anybody be begged to say that he is Igbo? You don't need to. And those who are claiming that they are not Igbo and claiming one tiny group or the other, who can they point out from that their tiny group that has shaped the world the way the rest of the Igbos have done? So looking at this, you see that there's no point begging anybody to accept that he is Igbo. But I give kudos to young men who go about doing this, talking to people, asking, I hail them. They can continue to do what they are doing. I'm not discouraging them. But for God's sake, nobody should be begged to be Igbo. That's my take. I don't know what you think about this, but whatever is your position on the Igbo-ness, or what constitutes an Igbo, who is an Igbo and who is not, whatever is your position, do you think that people should go about, literally trying to convince people that they are Igbo, even when they are saying that they are not? Is there really any gain in that? I don't think I think to be considered Igbo is a privilege. It's just like to be considered a Jew is a privilege. Because it's not everybody that is privileged to be born, to have lineage with Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. It means a lot. So for you to come out from these illustrious Igbos I have mentioned, you come from this line of people and they are telling you are Igbo, you are saying you are not. What the hell do you think you are that makes you important? That's what I think. I don't think anybody should be begged to be Igbo. Show me what your own ethnicity, that your tiny group that are telling you you are just subset of Igbo. You say no. What have you achieved? What are you known for? What is your place in the map of the world? What is your place in the map of mankind? Look at what I have just illustrated. I don't want this video to be long, but see how long they had gotten. But that's the way it is. But just to make it clear that nobody should be begged to be able. Thank you for watching this video. And if you are new to my channel, you have not yet subscribed to my channel, please subscribe to my channel. Hit the subscription button, hit the notification bell. When you subscribe to my channel and hit the notification bell, anytime I have a new video, you'll be among the first to know. God bless you. And please don't forget to like this video, because when you like this video, God will rank it high and recommend it for more people. Thank you, and God bless you and yours.